What's up, everyone? We are back at it again with another YouTube video, and hopefully, this video can simplify a lot of your trading. If you guys know me, if you guys are in the Discord, you know that I like to simplify my trading, right? In life, there will be a lot of things that will be simple, and there will be a lot of things that are complicated. And when it comes to trading, you want to try and make that as simple as possible. So let's get right into it, right? So um, with the way I trade, right, you don't have to worry about which market is on. Is this works for every market, right? So as I've mentioned many times before, right, traits of a downtrend are traits of a downtrend are when you see lower lows and lower highs in the market. So you have lower high, lower low, lower high, and so on. Traits of an uptrend are when you see higher highs and higher lows like such, right? So you have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and so on. So let's go look at this right here on this chart. Specifically, this is AUD USD, but like I said just a second ago, don't worry about the market. This happens on every market. Um, you know, forex pairs, stocks, treasuries, commodities, indices, um, exotics, commodities. This type of behavior happens on every um, market. So let's get right into it, right? So in this market that we see right here, we have a high point right here. The market trades down and we have a low. Now this area right here doesn't get back up higher than this area here. So we have a low point right here and then a high point here. So we can make this a low. And now that we solidified that this is lower than this high, we can have a lower high. Excuse me, I meant to put lower low, right? So we have solidified that this area is lower than this high. That is our lower high area. Now you can see in the market here, this price had rolled down to the downside, breaking this structure here. Okay, so if we look at this area here now, this would be our lower low. Now, price had traded back up and did not break this previous high right here, this previous lower high. So now we have a new lower high in the market. Okay, now what happens here? After this lower high is formed, price trades to the downside, breaking this structure right here. Okay, so after breaking this structure, we create a new lower low in this area right here. Now, as I have mentioned before, in a downtrend, your optimal areas for entry will be lower highs, and vice versa. As in a uptrend, your entry opportunities will be your higher lows, right? So as we see in this market right here, as price trades and breaks this structure, we can use this area, this previous area of structure, as a catalyst of where we could see price potentially trade back into, right? And as we see that, we see right here, we see price after breaking through this structure to the left, the previous lower low, and creating a new lower low, price trades back up into that area, right? Giving us a new lower high. And what happens after that, guys? What happens after that? This lower low right here, price once again trades to the downside, breaking this lower low, breaking this structure, giving us a new low, a new lower low right here. Now what happens, right? So as we're looking at this, we can see that this is the previous area of broken structure right here. Price trades to the downside and then retraces back up into that area, giving us a new lower high. Now, if you look at this, we can use these previous broken areas of structure right here to determine our next trading opportunities, right? Um, and mind you, it's not always going to have a rejection or a wick entry um, right at your point of interest, right? Sometimes it might trade above. Sometimes it might hang out around there. Sometimes you might catch a nice wicked entry, right? That just comes with patience and understanding your trade. So what happens next here, guys? We see this lower low get created or has gotten created. We traded back up into this previous lower low to create that lower high. That is our sell entry opportunity. Now what happens next? Price trades once again to the downside, breaking this previous lower low, right? Giving us a new lower low. Why is that? Because it is lower than this previous low here, okay? So in this area, right, after seeing that this area of structure had gotten broken, we'd want to draw a zone out, right, in this area. Now, as price breaks this previous structure, we see it retrace back up into that previous zone, right? Once again, giving us confirmation of an a possible entry opportunity to sell this market, giving us that lower high. What happens next after this, right? The market, you can see this heavy impulse once again to the downside, mimicking the three past impulses of structure being broken. You can see here, you can see here, and you can see here, right? So now we still have confirmation of selling, okay? Giving us a new lower low. Okay, so what happens after this lower low is created? What should we expect? We should expect the previous area of structure to come back and retest that. Do we know all the time if it's going to respect that area? No, we do not. We just we plan our trades, and then we trade our plan, right? That's all we can do in this market. All we can do is study, practice, and higher our probability of what we know, right? So as we see price trade again to the downside, creating this lower low, we then see price retrace back up into that previous area of broken structure, right? And, also depending on price action in these areas on smaller time frames and these lower high areas, which we will save that for another video, you can actually tighten up your entries as well. So price retraces back up into that previous area of structure that was broken and showing nice price action to then further trade to the downside, right? So what happens next? We get this low, right? Breaking the previous lower low, okay? Now, this is a perfect example of that price does not always just reverse right in your box. Just because you have this zone drawn up doesn't mean that the market is just going to automatically reverse there, right? So you guys got to understand, with patience and proper entry techniques, as I said, we will save that for another video. Um, you know, you got to understand that there's a lot of patience in the markets. You need patience, right? So keeping it moving here, we have a lower low that got created and breaking this previous area of structure. Price retraces back up into that area. Yes, it did trade just a little above this area, but ultimately we saw price then fall to the downside, okay? And in this lower high area, I'm sure on smaller time frames, we would have been able to see nice price action to get an even better entry opportunity. Okay, so now in this area right here, we see a new lower low. Okay, price breaks through this area. You can see barely this area is lower than this previous low. But look at what happens next. Look at what happens next. We don't get a break of this structure here. Price spikes down below it, but it doesn't close below it, right? Price closes back up above this area. And if you look at this, just having that angle right there, you can see that this actually closed higher than this. So what happens next, right? We see this low right here, and then what happens next? We see this big impulse to the upside, breaking this previous structure, right? So from this high being broken right here, now we have a higher high, right? A higher high. Now, if I was to sit and be patient and wait for price to trade back into this area, this previous broken structure right here, I would have a beautiful entry opportunity around my higher low area for a buy, right? So what I would like you guys to take from this video is one is making trading as simple as possible for yourself, and also go spend time back testing and analyzing these charts and looking at them in this way, right? Trying to train your eyes so you can see the markets in an easier way for yourself. I I know that it, you know, can kind of be confusing at first when you're seeing stuff like this, especially for new traders. But I promise you, with practice and repetition and patience, you will be able to start to see these things a lot easier, like myself and like some of the students now in the discords. Um, some of the students are killing it, and I'm super grateful and proud of them, and they have grown a lot. But with that being said, this was, just keeping keeping your trading simple, showing you simplicity in the market, and that is it for me. So hope you guys have a good rest of your Friday, good weekend. Let's come back next week and crush these markets as always. And thank you guys for watching. Peace out.